Screw the scandal. This country is falling apart. I mean, it's falling apart. Aside from political, economical issues, we still got the, age old nemesis of racism. In 2025, this is what, even today, with all the different challenges and, different things going on in the world, we still bickering, fighting, killing over race. So the father of this dude, Austin, who was, allegedly, well, apparently stabbed to death in Texas at a track meet by a young black man. Now, this dude, Austin, is white. It's where the racial dynamic plays into it. It said that this dude, Austin, was bullying him at some point. I don't know what their past history is, but I know on this day, it was a downpour, and they had tents set up at this track meet. And this young black man, Carmelo Anthony, apparently they did have some run-in before, but I think this was a chance encounter. A lot of people playing this like it was premeditated, like this dude Carmelo went there with the intent to murder this dude. I mean, in front of everybody, right? I mean, because that's what we do, right? So anyway, it's a downpour, so Carmelo gets under the tent to get some cover, and I guess this dude, Austin, was the tent police or something, because he approaches him and says he has to leave. He has to relocate. He's not allowed to be under that tent. Why? I guess his school. I don't know why he wouldn't be allowed, but the mother has come on giving a whole statement or whatever, and she says it's senseless. These things are always senseless, right? I don't see what's senseless about self-defense, though. So apparently this dude, Austin, grabbed a hold of Carmelo after telling him he had to leave, and, Carmelo stating that I'm not going anywhere. I guess the dude, at that point, said, I will remove you physically. And he said, touch me and see what happens. At least that's what witnesses claim. And so the dude grabbed him up, and Carmelo reacted and pulled a knife out the bag and stabbed this dude in the chest, in the heart, piercing his heart. And so they calling this murder. Was it murder for Zimmerman? People complaining about, because they got this dude on a $1 million bond, and I think he's been, he has a GoFundMe, and if you can, help out. I'm doing my part, and people up in arms about that. You got racists now in outrage because they're saying, why? You see what these people are doing? They are assisting a murderer, woo woo, but when Kyle Shittenhouse or Crittenhouse, it was self-defense, right? I think he got $1 million donated to his defense cause. Same with Zimmerman. Same with any of these, others. When they're accused of, similar situations. But see, it's murder when we defend ourselves. Now remember I say you cannot control what somebody's reaction is to an action you commit, right? So you grab a hold of this dude, you put your hands on someone, and that's what y'all better start learning. Everybody, but especially you. I don't, like I said, I don't know what this dude, and like I said, a lot of times y'all just think y'all run every damn thing. White people. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think y'all control every damn thing at all times, and that's not how it works. You don't control nobody's body, you know? So at the point where he put his hands on Buddy, after that, so how is it murder? And this is me, you know, I'm not defending, I call shit like it is. You know, I'm not gonna get up here and defend dude just because he's black. I don't do that shit. But let's be real. I'm tired of this. We're tired of this. You know? You got regular people just trying to police black folks. The super Karens, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, y'all don't have no authority. Just regular fucking citizens putting your hands on people. And at that point, whatever happens after that, if shit take off, now your family's crying. So they want to paint the narrative that dude was just, you know, and they always, you know, when you're dead, they always going to speak the best about you. But, you know, from what I understand, and I'm not saying it like this dude Carmelo is some perfect angel, but we talking about, you know, since we talking about character, from what I understand, this dude, you know, has some racist tendencies, some racist ideology, you know. So his mother says he's the type of person, you know, that does the right thing. The right thing. And he, you know, he was just protecting, because you have book bags and other items, personal belonging, as if this black dude, you know, Carmelo, just his presence is a threat. You know, he's there to steal something criminal, right? He just doesn't belong there. That's what it come down to. You know, they don't want us certain, you know. They don't want us in their space, in their vicinity. So she says he was just doing the right thing by removing, you know. And that's why your son is dead. That's why he's dead. Not because dude came there with some premeditated, you know, but there was obviously some run-in before. Now, a lot of people saying, why is he walking around with a knife? I see a lot of people walking around with guns. Do you know that people used to learn how to shoot guns at the age of 10, 12 years old? It was common. People have always carried knives. It's just a new society. Y'all knew, you know, y'all metro people have always carried knives for all different types of things, you know. It's a utensil, a tool. A knife can be very useful, you know. So in this case, it was used for self-defense. So why demonize this, man? I mean, but they do not. You don't see them putting all these images up on social media with their sons standing around, because it was twins, you know. And so his twin brother died in his arms because, you know, like I said, man, people need to learn to stay in a lane, you know. But like I said, you don't see them pushing the imagery of these two white dudes, these two white kids, standing around with assault rifles and ARs. They're giving off white supremacy energy. You know, and like I said, man, I'm tired of having to justify my thoughts. And, you know, I'm not a racist. I know I'm not a racist. They give off white supremacist energy. And I'll tell you what I think happened. I think these dudes were racist, you know. And I do think they were just fucking with dude just because he's a young black man. You know what I'm saying? That's what this was about. Now the fathers come out saying, this isn't about race. It's bullshit. 99.9% of the time it is about race, even when it's not about race, because you can't obviously read somebody's mind. You know what I'm saying? But let's not bullshit each other here. We understand the history. Fuck the now. The now. Nothing has changed. You know, well, a lot has changed, but a lot hasn't. So now we got a young man. Like I said, if the roles were reversed, we wouldn't be talking about murder here. We know that. And that in and of itself, and anybody white or other who come across this particular video or whatever, you know I'm telling the truth. You know it's true. Had it been reversed, had the roles been reversed, no, y'all would not be talking about first degree murder. So I think this is the most asinine. I just think it's the most brainless, idiotic race that is. And the racial construct, people fed up, man. Fed up. Trying to live their lives, you know, just trying to live their lives, man, and serve their purpose. And we have people out here, hate mongers, who still to this day, what is wrong? What's the problem? Why are y'all so threatened? Why are y'all, look at the stats. How many murders are actually committed against white folks annually? Look at the statistics, man. It is white folks who, if you statistically, the number of white folks who murder blacks far outweigh the number of white folks that get murdered by black people. And that's just the numbers, you know, they say people lie, you know, but numbers don't lie. And actually, you know, we kill each other more than we kill whites. So we, you know, so in the midst of the economic downturn, all the shit that's going on, like I said, this country is imploding, man. It's falling apart. It really is. We headed for a huge depression. Stock market about to crash. You know, this shit is cyclical. But this shit really is going, this time around, it's going, a lot of people may not be able to make it back from the brink of, you know, ground zero this time around. There's going to be a lot of people, you know, self-deleting, a lot of people crashing out. Because y'all know how we get, man. When shit get, you know, when people stressed out about money and, you know what I'm saying? We hit these economic crises. This shit play out the same. We're going to start to have the racial tension. You know what I'm saying? And we know how white folks get. I call it white angst. You know, when shit start to get shaky in this country economically, you know, they target blacks and other minorities, mainly blacks. You know, but like I said, man, getting back to as far as this case, man, listen, I obviously don't know what was in Dude's heart and in his mind, what his intent was, you know, but, you know, forgive me if, you know, I'm just so cynical based on, you know, the history of this country and not just the history, but the present, the now. You know what I'm saying? If I feel like this is just a case of dude trying to drop his nuts, you know, trying to push this dude around, you know, because that's what y'all do. And he wasn't going for it. I believe there was some past tension. Maybe dude put his hands on him before. You know what I'm saying? And this was it. Because for him to click just like that, you know what I'm saying, over something, you know, and like I said, you put your hands on somebody. A lot of people say why he didn't just fight him. Well, listen, man, that shit is over. You know what I'm saying? Keep your damn hands to yourself. Nobody is out here really fighting anymore, unless it's somebody who, you know, who typically put their hands on somebody else unprovoked. I'm saying when there is no, we ain't squared up, but you just take it upon yourself to physically put your, that's somebody who has a bully mentality and feel like that individual is weaker than them or whatever. You feel like you can, you know what I'm saying? Because typically grown men are not out here just approaching people for whatever and putting their hand because you know what can come behind that, you know. At least a lot of us do. We know, you know what I'm saying? You don't put your hands on anyone unless you intend to finish that. You know, that's just the game I play by because I don't have time to be out here fighting with people over dumb shit. One punch, all it can take. You know, you punch somebody, they fall on the ground, hit their head, they wake up different. If they wake up. I ain't got time for that no more. You know what I'm saying? You put your hands on me, you're gonna get what you're gonna get, and what you're gonna get is that fire. You know? So it is what it is. That's murder. Well, I'll tell you what, like I said, if the roles were reversed. So like I said, for all the people who are crying about, the donations this young man is receiving for his defense fund, like I said, man, was y'all singing the same tune for Zimmerman or Crittenhouse? And the list goes on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? No. You always find a way to justify it and get behind them and support y'all killers. Y'all support y'all killers. I'm not even going to call a dude a killer, even though he killed this man. It was self-defense. He had no choice. He was terrified. He was terrified. He had no choice. He was backed into a corner. What would you have done? Maybe you would have done the same thing. So, like I said, same old shit. And all the shit going on in this world, man. All the shit going on in this world. And we are still, in this day and age, do you know how pathetic that is as a human race? How pathetic it is. But like I said, man, race is something for the people on the lower tier of the social economic ladder to bicker and you know what I'm saying, elitist. They don't have to you know what I'm saying, deal with trivial matters such as race. But it is what it is, man. So like I said, once you put your hands on someone, I don't care what if you push them, whatever. Who are you to quantify what the right reaction should be? If you put your hands on somebody and they decide to go ahead and just, give you that final solution, it is what it is. So I don't think I see any victim. The only victim I see here is the young man, Carmelo Anthony, who is now caught up in the court system, fighting for his freedom and maybe even his life, because he had enough. 216 Skano, you already know.